Okay. So till the last class, we discussed mostly about stage. In the process studio, we discussed about mostly about the calculation stage, right? And we discussed about most of the functions in calculation stage. Today we are going to move forward and look into a few of the more stages that are present in the process studio. So the same stages are also present in the object studio, right? So all the stages that are present in the process studio, all of them are there in the object studio. So you can consider we are simultaneously covering a major portion of the object studio workflow diagrams also. But when we come to object studio again, we have a lot of other stuffs to cover apart from whatever stages we are covering now. There are 5 more stages, and apart from that, the way the object functions is different through application modeler. So all of that stuff we'll look into object studio. But currently kindly focus on process studio all the stages, because the same stages are also going to be effective in object studio when we work upon that. Okay, so we only just work upon a dummy process in the last class to understand the different functions of calculation stage, how the calculation stage works, the different date function, then different logical operation, and all the functions we talked about mostly in the last class, right? So in this class, what we'll do is we'll talk about multi-calculation now. So because we have discussed calculation and data item, we have talked about mostly calculation and data item. So these two stages are, we'll be using it very frequently. So I hope all of you have a better understanding about these stages. So let me close this and let me create a new process. I'm going to create a new process for the understanding of stages. If any one of you are not if I'm not able to hear any one of you, then you can ping in this chat box that you have some problem understanding something, and I can get back to you. So I'm creating another process called stages explanation, for example. So this is the process that got created. So till now, what we have been doing is that we have been doing a basic calculation. So for example, what I am trying to do is let me do a very basic calculation. For example, I am taking 2 data item. Okay, data 1 and data 2. These are, for example, 2 number, and there is also something called result, and we'll rename it to result. And all of the data type, let's keep it as number. Data 1 also I am putting it as number because I am just going to make it a simple addition and the initial value of 12. Data 2 also a number and initial value of 45, for example. Okay, so what I want now is I just want to perform an addition operation. Okay, this is what we have all gone through: data 1 plus data 2, and storing the result in the result data variable, data item, which is this one. Now after this addition, I want something else. What I want is that whatever result got produced, I want result minus data 1 and to be saved in data 2 again. So what I will do, with this calculation completed, my result got populated, right? I got some value in result. So what I'll do, I'll get another calculation here. What I want data 2 equal to result minus data 1. So what I will do, I'll drag and drop result, then minus data 1, and I'm going to store the result in data 2. Let's name it as subtraction. Okay, and if we run this, if we connect it first, let's connect it. And reset, because all the changes to be reflected in the workflow, we need to reset it, and let's run it. So look at the right side, result 57. what again, because we are 57 minus 12, it is again the same number, so 45 is being updated. So we could have done a divided or multiplication so that you could have seen it better, because addition and this will produce the same result, right? Anyway, so what we are achieving here is we are doing a we are drag and we are using a lot of calculation box to do simple mathematical operation. There is obviously no problem with this, and it's very good, but the thing is we should not use a lot of space of our workflow for multi calculation. And also we have an efficient way where we can do all of this using a single step. For example, if you are doing any complex calculation, most of the time you will be suppose you are automating a project of some hotel chain, okay, and one of the module is that how they calculate their bill, how the hotel calculates their bill. So when they calculate their bill, maybe they will add all the numbers, whatever your bill is, then whatever the total amount is, for example 500, they will charge some percentage of that as a VAT. So for into if 5% is the VAT, then they will charge some part of that as a VAT or GST. Again, upon that, if they want to charge something. So in this process, you are, for example, doing three operations. First one, you are adding up everything. Then you are using a calculation stage to calculate the GST percentage, or maybe you are using another calculation stage to calculate the some other tax or something, and at the end of the day you are again adding everything. Okay, so all of this operation you are doing, so you are using calculation stage for each of the operation, and at the end of the last calculation stage is providing you the final result. Okay, because this calculation stage will be able to handle a single expression or a single mathematical operation at a single point of time, that is the reason we are using multiple calculation stage. So instead of doing this, what we can do is we can use a multi-calculation stage which is provided by Blue Prism. What this does is it does the same thing, but only thing is it will do everything sequentially using a single stage. So for example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, whatever operation you want, it will do all the operation inside a single stage. So let's open it up. As you can see here, there are a lot of it looks a little bit different compared to the calculation stage, but here you can add multiple row. So this is the first row, and you can add a second row, third row, fourth row, whatever amount of operation you want, you can add that. So for example, in the first row, we can add data 1 plus data 2, and we can store it in result. And for this part here, for the subtraction, without creating a new new stage, without dragging and dropping a new stage, we can append that here only. So second is result minus data 1, and we can store it in data 2. We can make it plus so that it will be a little bit better. Okay, result plus data 1 is data 2. So we can again make it add and again addition 2 times additions. Okay, so you can take this help of such like stages. So again, what is the benefit of doing this? Is there any benefit of doing this? Yeah, so there will not be much benefit if you say because what is happening is here also we are doing addition then subtraction. Here also what will happen, there is a sequential access from top to bottom. So whatever number of rows you have, it will start from the top, then sequentially it will execute everything. So you will feel a difference when the number of rows are too large. So for example, if you are doing around 25 to 30 calculation, then maybe you will get a slight improvement in performance if you are putting 25 stages here one by one and you are putting 25 rows here. That case you will find a slight difference in the performance in terms of how fast they execute. Apart from that, it makes your workflow a little bit better, because here you are doing everything in one stage, so there is you are not the workspace that you are using, whatever the space of the workflow that you are using, that you are minimizing it. So that is a two advantage you can say when you are using a multi-calculation stage. And again, obviously you can connect from here and connect from here. Either you can delete this link, otherwise anyway this is the flow that will be start, addition and end. Okay, this is the way it will go. So you can reset it and you can run it. As you can see, at a single at a single instance, it updated everything. 12 plus 45, it became 57. 57 plus 12 becomes 69. Okay, so this is the function of multi-calculation stage. So you can use multiple level of multiple rows of calculation if using a single stage. Okay, any doubt here? Anything you want to know? Okay then. Okay, fine. So now that we are done with the multi-calculation stage, let's see about the decision stage now. Okay, let's see about the decision stage. So I'm going to close it. So first, either you can close and save it, or you can save and then close it. Anything is fine. Okay, so I'm going to save it first. Implemented multi-calculation, for example. I request you to provide a valid business comment here, so that people can understand what you have been doing in this process. Okay, so looking at the comments, people should be, other employees or other colleagues you have should be able to understand, or your manager should be able to understand what are different activities that are being performed in this particular process without going inside the process. Okay, now let me create another process for decision stage, understanding of decision stage. Okay, I already have a process in the name of decision stage. So decision stage 3 or something. Double click and it gives. So what is a decision stage? Uh, it's very simple. Most of you have used this everywhere. If even if you are not from a programming background, these are normal, like if else statement. If age of a person is greater than 18, then allow some access to him or her, else deny access. Okay, this is what a decision stage. We should be, either decision will be either yes or no. Okay, so it will be a, you can say, flag or boolean. So the output of this kind of operation are flag or boolean, whatever you call, and they store either true or false. So if it is true, if age is greater than 18, then do something else. If it is not greater than 18, do something else. Okay, so you can, this kind of checking operation is the most used one, and when building complex application, these will be a very minor part of that, and we'll be using it for a lot of action. So for example, if we are calculating something in the Excel sheet and we want to check if a particular field value is of some data, or if if gender equal to something, then do something. If marital status equal to something, then do something. So there are a lot of validation that we need to do for our application whenever we are creating something. Suppose there is a register of a web applications. For example, you're working for a any company where in their website there is a register where you register in the Facebook or Twitter or anything. Their website also there is a registration page, and there they are asking you to input the first name and your email ID, then mobile number, and date of birth or something. Okay, then you are doing a you're clicking on a checkbox called I accept all the terms and conditions, and then you are submitting. Okay, so here in this case, when you are trying to automate this, there are a lot of validation you need to pass through. If, for example, first name how to check the name of the, how will I check that first name contains at least one character? How will I check that if someone has inputted at least one character to first name, it's not blank? Anybody? How to check if something is blank or not, or at least has a single character? So it's very simple. Okay, either you can use if app name equals to blank, then deny them. You can put a message like first name should be at least one character of length. Okay, this kind of validation you can do. Okay, if app name equal to space is empty, then you can put some message. Or there is a function we discussed yesterday in the calculation, or in the last class, that if text length of a string. So here you can pass the whatever data type you have. For example, first name if your data type, or ABC, and you can paste length of ABC is 3. So length of first name, if it is greater than 0, then that is fine. If it is greater than 0, means it has at least one character. Else, you can put a message that provide a first name at least of one character length. Similarly, email ID. Email ID you can again validate. There are different email ID validation. If the email ID contains something like @ because all the email ID will contain @. How will you check @ is there inside a string or not? How to check existence of a substring inside a string? How will I check that abc@gmail.com contains a text of @? There are different validation. These are something you will be using when working in different real-time project validation. So we have this function called inString. Okay, you can check gets the starting point of a subsection. So inString email ID @, if the result is 0, it means @ is not present. So if someone is putting an email ID right ABC, then this is a wrong email ID. Every email ID should contain a @ symbol. So this is how you can validate email ID. Again, you can validate mobile number, and you can check if the mobile number length is at least 10 characters long or not. So 99000213, something like this. If someone is putting, you can calculate this length of this thing, and if the length is not equal to 10, then you can put a validation message that mobile number should be at least 10 characters long. Okay, so all this validation that you are doing, if this length is this, if in string @, if all that, everything that we are doing, all these kinds of operation, we are going to use the decision stage. What we are doing here, we are taking a decision whether or not if this string is valid, whether or not if this person is eligible, and all of that stuff. Okay, did you understand the requirement of decision stage? So I request you to go through the different functions of at least the text function, because that is something you are going to use a lot when working with complex examples. They are very minor data, but they are the building blocks of your Blue Prism. Okay, so let's see. So decision stage is very simple. So let me drag and drop a decision stage. So it has to output either it is yes, whatever decision you want to check, it's either yes or it's no. Okay, so based on that, you need to populate something. So for example, let's drag and drop a data item. Let's name it as age. Let's put it a number as data type, and value as initial value as 16. Here I am checking it's adult or something. Okay, and here what I'm checking, if age is greater than 18. This is what I'm checking. Okay, you can validate it here, or you can form this expression by going to logic greater than. In the operand A, you can drag and drop age. In the operand B, you can drag and drop 18, and you can just delete it and paste it. it will form the expression for you. So all the comparison operation that you have, it is greater than, equal to, and, or, all of this, not equal to, these are present in the logic part of your function. So you can do all of that here. Okay. So we named it as is adult. So based on this, if it is greater than 18, we have some output. If it is not greater than 18, we are following some different workflow, right? So for time being, let's put two end stage, because as you know, we all know that there can only be one start stage in a process, whereas we can have multiple end stages. So let's connect everything. And when I draw this like connectors, the links, it automatically creates yes for one and no for one. So is adult, then if it is yes, then do something. If it is no, then do something else. Okay. So now if I run it, it goes the no part because age is 16 we have put, and 16 is obviously not greater than 18. So it takes the no part. So if I, for example, it automatically creates this yes and no, ages for me. So for example, if I'm doing some complex operation and I want to change this yes to here and no to here, I want this node to be yes, this age to be yes, and this age to be no. You can simply right click here and you can just switch, click on this switch. If you switch it, this becomes yes and this becomes no. So the switch will interchange your like output of the decision stage. Okay, based on this, like whatever validation you are doing, you can obviously put other like workflow in place. For example, you can do something else here, and you can do something else here. Maybe for example, let's say let's take a data item here, and let's name it as output, data type as text. Click OK. If it's an adult, then let's put an output call I am not a minor, and we are going to store this one in output because it is a text. Okay, this is for yes in the calculation box. For no, if the person is not an adult, then I am a minor or something. I'm not even sure about the actual age of this adults and all. And you can store that in output. Okay. So again, you can press F3. So F2 you can press for pointer, and F3 for link. These are the most widely used stages. So you can use F2 and F3 for this, or you can come here and select it. Okay. Select join this. Okay. So you can also press Ctrl Z to undo. Okay, or here also you can undo it. Ctrl Z like the way you do in any Windows operation, or you can undo it from here. Okay, so I'm deleting this too, and I'm just connecting this one. Right? So this is what a decision says. Now if I run it, the output says I'm a minor because the age is 16 we have provided. Okay, if I provide the age as 45 and reset and run, it will take this path. Okay, and I'm not a minor because my age is greater than 80. Okay, any doubts here? Any doubts regarding the decision stage? You're fine? Okay then. Okay, fine. So now that we are good with the decision stage, okay, let me give you an assignment based on whatever stages we have discussed till now. So the assignment is you know this farm field, right? Let me paint it out. So there is a farmer. okay, and he has different fields. Okay, a farmer has different fields, farm fields. Okay, and the farm fields are rectangular fields like this. Okay, these are rectangular fields of different sizes, and he wants to plant trees in this field. Okay, he wants to plant different some kind of tree, same tree. Okay, not different tree, same tree in a symmetric manner. Okay, when I say symmetric, it means the distance between each of the tree and distance between each of the row remains always same. Okay, so he wants to plant multiple trees in a field in a systematic manner. It's his first row, and it contains with a periodic distance all the trees are planted, and in the second row, again in the same periodic distance the trees are planted, and in the third row and so on, and the distance between this and this are also same. Okay, what I'm telling you is that there is nothing to do with the distance. All I'm telling you is that it plants trees in a very systematic manner in every row with a same distance. He has three different fields. Okay, the farmer has three different fields, rectangular fields, and so field 1, field 2, and field 3. These three fields the farmer has, and you are provided the length and the, what do you say, this is length and this is breadth, I guess. This is the length and this is the breadth of the field. So I'm providing you all the length and breadth of each of the fields. So for example, for field 1, the length is 80 and the breadth is 40. Okay, for field 2 the length is 75 and the breadth is maybe 45, and for field 3 the length is 70 and the breadth is 50. Okay, so these are the inputs you have. You have three fields and you are provided the length and breadth of each of the field. Okay, and as you know, as per the requirement, trees can be planted in a very only in a systematic way, in a symmetric way in all the fields. Okay, so I want you guys to find, when you create the workflow, the output should be the name of the field, which can accommodate maximum number of trees. Okay, so you may want to take a data item of text data item, and you may want to write in the text data item that field 3 can contain the maximum number of trees, or field 2 can contain, or field 1 can contain. Okay, so you need to prepare a workflow to solve this problem, and as you know, this should be the output. Okay, you're fine with this, right? Any questions here? Okay. You are comfortable in doing this, right? So I'm going to upload this to Google Drive, and after every weekend I'm going to provide some assignment. So this is very simple assignment because we have not discussed much, but in future we are going to face some complex assignment. If you're not able to do it, we'll discuss the solution in the next class. Okay, fine. So let me save this because I'm done with the decision stage. Let me save it. What is that? Geetika. Geetika, you are fine with whatever we are discussing here, right? You are comfortable with the pace, whatever we are discussing? You are able to understand all the concepts, right? Hello?
Yes, Prem, I'm able to understand. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So let me close this, and let's talk about about the choice stage. Now that we have discussed about the decision stage, let's talk about the choice stage now. And then in the choice stage, we'll like discuss about something complex. After that, we'll see. No, first we'll go about choice stage, then collection and loops. After that, we'll combine everything and work upon something today. Give me 1 minute. Okay. So why do we need the choice stage? So for example, if I am calculating the what do you say, tax tax of a tax of an employee. So let's calculate the tax of an employee, for example. Okay. So how do we go about calculating the tax of an employee? Like what slab he falls into, 10%, 20%, 30%. So in that case, our requirement, it will be we need to take input as salary of the person, and there are multiple cases here. If salary is greater than 0 and maybe less than 2,50,000, then the tax is 0%, right? I believe this is the one. And if salary is again greater than equal to 2.5 lakhs and less than 5, then he has to pay a tax of 10%. And same for 20% and 30%, only the rule changes. Some validation here between 5 to 10 and greater than 10, it's 30%. So how shall we compare all this while calculating the tax? Suppose they provided me a salary and they want the outputs at what tax percentage the person falls into. Later, we'll extend this example for calculating salary of multiple employees. For example, now this belongs to this applies for a single employee. We'll be calculating, suppose the salary is given as let's say 7 lakhs. Okay, so first we'll check if salary is greater than 0. No, this is false. Now if salary is between 2.5 and 5, no, it is false again. If salary is between 5 and 10, yeah, it's correct. 7 is between 5 and 10, so we allocate a tax percentage of like maybe 20%. Obviously, this calculation is not correct. This is not the way it gets calculated, but this is just for an example sake. Okay, so then how do we go about implementing this? Have we already discussed something that fixes this problem, that solves this problem? Obviously you can check, for example, if salary is greater than 0, and if you can check in the if condition, if salary is greater than 0 and salary is less than 2.5. Okay, based on the yes and no, it will has two outputs. If it is correct, then it is yes, then do something, and if it is not correct, then no, then do something else. If it is correct, then directly allocate a tax percentage of 0%. If it is no, then again put a if statement and check here if salary is between 2.5 and 5. Again, for if it is yes, the salary percentage is if it is yes, the salary percentage will be 10%. If it is no, then again you need to do some calculation. If it is no, then you check if salary is between 5 and 10. Okay, as you can see here, this becomes much more complex here. And we have to put a lot of decision stage to do. And this is not a sustainable way to solve this problem. We have something better here, and for that we'll be using the choice stage. So let's see, how the choice stage works and how we can solve this in a better way to calculate the tax percentage of a person. Okay. So I'm creating a new process called, let's say, choice stage 3 or something, because it must be present with this name somewhere. Okay, double click. Now, in between the start and end stage, we are going to look into the choice stage. Here, we are going to implement the same thing here. So, for this example, let me take an input of salary. So, I'm taking a data item and naming it as salary, and data type is number. Initial value is, let's say, 7 lakhs, and let's implement that. So I'm just going to drag and drop a choice stage. When I do a drag and drop, it also attaches something called otherwise, here. So we'll look into that. What is an otherwise? And in the choice stage, we are going to compare, what range this salary input falls into. How do we compare all this, all this validation? In the choice stage only here by double clicking this one. So I'm going to double click this. Maybe I'll write it as tax calculator, and I'll provide different choices here. So for example, the first choice is the choice name here. As you can see here, it's a choice name and it's choice criteria. So criteria is the formula that we'll be using. If it is greater than 0, less than 2.5, 2,50,000, all of that, the whatever formula I'll be putting for validation, that will come for criteria. This is the name of the choice. So how many choice we have here? 4. So I'll add 3 more rows here, and this is tax of 0%. And the second is tax of 10%, and this one is for 20%, and we have 30%, right? So here, what I will check, the salary information. If salary is greater than 0 and less than 2,50,000. So how will I check this? I can drag a number directly from here. Salary greater than 0. Put an AND operator here, and again drag and drop salary, or you can put a double square bracket, and you can okay. Okay, and you can drag and drop salary again, or whatever. Oh, I drag and drop here. That is fine. I'll just cut it and paste it here. Salary is less than 2,50,000. Okay, this is the way you can write it. Or the second way for writing this would be to use this what do you say, expression editor. This is the expression editor that we have discussed before. If you click this, it will give you this. This is basically your calculation box. Whatever you see in the calculation box, this is the same one. The expression builder also, you can say. So at the end of every choice criteria, it will come for you. So you can click this and build this expression by yourself. So let's build this for the second one, and we can copy paste the rest of the one. So click this. We're doing an AND operation. What is our main operation? AND operation. On the left side we have operand A. On the right side we have operand B. So click this. Go to logic. Click on AND. Here we can write salary is greater than 0, and here we can write salary is less than 2,50,000. But imagine if your left side expression is again complex. If it is not as simple as that, again you can take the help of this expression builder here, and you can build the left side operand only using this. So let me build that. I'm going here, again an expression box for operand A only. Here in the logic, I'm checking less than. In the operand A, I'm getting salary. Oh, sorry, greater than. Greater than. And in the operand A, I'm getting salary. Here I'm getting 0. So if I paste, it will form salary is greater than 0. And we are doing this for operand A. So if I press OK here, this whole expression will go to, okay. Yeah, I was getting some noise. So if I am clicking OK here, this whole expression will go to operand A only, right? Click OK. Now my operand A is formed. In the same way, I can form my operand B also if it is going to be complex. So go here and you can check again less than, and I'm checking if salary is less than 2,50,000. Paste here, and this expression will be my operand B. Now I generated my operand A and operand B. If I paste here, it will form my whole expression. Salary is greater than 0 and salary is less than 2,50,000. If I click OK here, it will form the total expression for me. Understood this part, how to use the expression builder? If the criteria is complex, you can take the help of this expression builder. Okay, copy it, paste it here. So this one here for like text percentage 0, we are checking if salary is greater than equal to 2,50,000 and salary is less than 5 lakhs. Okay. 30% if salary is greater than 10 lakhs. Greater than equal to 10 lakhs. Okay. Everyone understood, right? How we achieved all this calculation and all. Okay. So click OK now. Now, as you can see, because I've did 4 operation here, it gave me 4 nodes here. One for text 0, text 10%, 20%, and 30%. These are coming automatically. These are formed automatically based on how many criteria you have, based on the number of rows here. Based on that, you will be forming number of nodes here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Based on this, for every node, we need to do some calculation. So let's put the output somewhere. So let's drag and drop a data item, and let's name it as output in the correct manner, and data type as text. Click OK here. Okay, so how do we so what I want is, I want to save if text percentage, so this salary information will be feeded to the text calculator. Here what will be checked here, salary is 7 lakhs. So if first row it will be checked. So this checking will be done always from the top to bottom. Okay, top to bottom it will always be done. So if you are thinking that your salary may contain something of a larger value, you can choose to put text 30% in the first row. Why? Anybody here? If I have a guess that most of my employee salary is greater than 5 lakhs, I may want to put the text 30% in the first row instead of the last row. The reason is, if most of my employees are getting more than 5 lakhs, still I'm checking all this tax 0%, tax 10%, tax 20%, and most of the time these are, the output is no here because my salary doesn't fall in this region. My salary falls in this region, tax is 20%. So if I am putting this 20% and 30% at the top, then in the first checking, checking of the criteria, it becomes true only. So my program will not check further. Okay, my program will not come down to validate something else. If it is true, it will exit and execute something. So by doing this, I am saving a lot of time for my program to be run, and this way I am increasing my performance. Okay, so this is the reason, always try to increase your performance. Okay. So let me go a little bit off topic here, and let me tell you why saving time is important. Saving time is important because you have to save time in all the possible way. So for example, if in this case, if 80% of my employees are between 5 lakhs and 10 lakhs salary, I may choose to put it on the first row. By doing this, I would be saving around 1/3 or 1/4 of the time by not executing these three. Okay, so if I save time, what happens is when my bots are running in a server. Okay, and whatever server they are running, either my company is hosting that server, or I am purchasing the server from AWS or from Microsoft Azure or from any company like Google Cloud. These are all cloud providers, and they will take care of the servers for you. You as a company don't have to purchase different servers, and you have to install it at a physical location, cool them off, and there are a lot of maintenance for server. So these companies will maintain the server for you, and these companies charge a lot of money for your whatever space you are buying. So for example, let's take the example of AWS, Amazon Web Server. They charge, for example, some 0.5 cents per minute of execution per 50 MB of storage. Okay, so when you are running a bot, that bot is maybe taking around normally they charge around also about RAM usage. This is about hard disk usage. They also charge about RAM usage. So for example, your bot is a very heavy application, and it is running for around 30 minutes for some task to be completed, right? And for the 30 minutes, your company or the client has to pay this amount of money. For example, every minute 0.5 cents, so it becomes $15. And it is, I'm giving a very basic example. These figures go very large in real time. $15, and whatever space it consumes, whatever memory it consumes, in that again it will maybe pay some some amount. Okay, so you are paying, for example, $30 for a single bot to run in AWS server that you have rented some part. Now imagine why performance is important, why reducing time is important. Imagine if you have placed this 20% at the front, and this runs for maybe 2,000 employees. This tax calculation runs for 2,000 employees. So how much time it will save, and in terms when you are saving time, how much money you will save for your client. Okay, so always think in this perspective. Like I don't want you to always think in this perspective. Obviously, you have to execute your business logic in the best possible way. But the thing is, whenever it is possible, try to improve the performance, try to improve the time it takes to execute a workflow. Okay, that way it will be beneficial for everyone, for the for you, for your company, and for the servers also. So okay, then click OK here. So now we have all this validation that all this salary will be passing through. 4 validation: 0%, 10%, 20%, 30%. Now based on this, we need to populate our output. So what I'm going to do is, if salary is 7 lakhs, obviously it has to go through all the validation, and it say it will find out that tax is 20%. Okay, so now what I am going to do is, in my output here, I am going to write tax is 20% in a text. Okay, I'm going to write the output as, the output should be something like this. Tax is 20%. If the salary I am providing input as 4 lakhs, the output will be tax is 10%. Okay, so what should I do to achieve this output? Anybody, any guess here? What should I implement here to achieve this output? Any guess?
By the decision box, we will put the condition.
No, we'll not put by the decision box. We are using this tax calculator not to use the decision box. The conditions are being checked here. You see, I'm checking if salary is greater than 0 and salary is less than 2,50,000. This is my condition here. This is my criteria here. So I'll be not be using the condition box. All I want is a way where I can update my output. This is giving me the which row it is. It is giving me this tax criteria value. All I need is a way to store the output. Okay, 1 minute. So what we can use here is, we can use simple calculation box to store, because I know what my tax from here in the choice criteria. I have 4 nodes, and my output will go to any of the one node here out of the 4 at a single instance. So based on that, I'll populate this using a calculation stage. You remember in the decision stage we used calculation to output I'm a minor, I'm not a minor, something like that. So we can use 4 calculation stage here, something like this, and we can, let's first connect everything. Again, you can press F3 for link. You see here, when I connect, I get the name of the ages. 0%, 10%, 20%, 30%. These names are coming from the choice name that we have mentioned here. Okay. Now it's very simple here. If my tax is 0%, I'm going to write to the output that tax is 0%. And you can rename it, obviously, rename it. I'm not going to rename it because it will consume some time, but you should ideally rename it calc1. If it is 10%, we can write tax is 10% and we can store it in the output. Similarly, all of this we can do the same thing. Tax is 20% and here tax is 30%. Okay, so based on whatever value, whatever path it is taking, based on that path it will update your output. Obviously we need to end everything, so I'm going to drag and drop here. Also, let me take another calculation stage here for otherwise. So what is otherwise? If it is not between all this, 0 and all this, if it is not between, and if someone is putting a salary of, for example, ABCD, so obviously it will fail here. Or if someone is putting a salary of minus 250 or something, so it doesn't make sense for, if some value is not fall in this part, so that will go to otherwise. And in the otherwise, you can maybe you can put something like invalid salary. Okay, here invalid salary. You can output it, and at the end you can connect all the calculation boxes to end stage, and you can connect from start stage. Now reset it and let's run it, and let's see where it is going. The 7 lakhs should ideally go to the 20% slab. Okay, as you can see, it went to calc 3 and the output is tax is 20%. Any doubts here? Everyone is comfortable with this?
Supriya here. Can we try with instead of using this 5 calculations?
Here you want to use multi-calculation?
Yeah. Can we use that?
Okay, so yes, we can use that, but again, you have to write everything here. So for example, in the calculation, all we are doing is we are storing it here, right? Tax is 0% and all. But the thing is, the only problem with this is that we are providing we are providing a direction. We are not checking here. So for example, in the expression, what we do, we provide a lot of rows here. Okay, so I won't suggest you to do any multi-calculation here because we are not doing any multiple calculation. We are doing a single calculation based on the output. Whenever our process is reaching at this point, we have already completed the multi-layer, this calculation we have already achieved it here. Whatever you want to do, it looks like a multi-calculation, right? We have different rows here. So this we have already achieved by the time we come here. Here only we are providing a, path to the, if it is 0%, write something. If it is 10%, write something. If it is 20%, write something, and all of that stuff. We are just providing it here. So, this is just a path for 0%, 10%, 20%, 30%. And we have to provide it anyhow, because when you create multiple criteria here, Blue Prism will automatically create these 4 nodes for you. So again, if it will not be like, you will be replacing the whole thing and, providing a multi-calculation, because it will not make any sense, right? So if I am doing it here, like if I am saving tax is 0%, because this is the only purpose I am using the calculation state. Tax is 0% and store in output. And again, I am adding something like tax is like 10% and storing it in output. Okay. So if I do this, and let's, for example, connect, everything to here, because the only purpose of replacing using multi-calculation is we should be able to replace all the calculation here and use multi-calculation. So all my lines here will directly go to multi-calculation, to a single calculation, right? But once they go, we are redirecting 0%, 10%, 20%, everything here. So what will happen? Everything will produce the same output. Here what will happen? It will execute the first row, store in output, then it will come execute the second row, again store in output. So output will always contain the last row data, okay? Unless and until you are doing some validation here. If you are taking a, decision stage and doing some validation where you are taking a flag and then redirecting, that is a different case. But this will not be an ideal scenario to use multi-calculation by replacing all this calculation. Okay.
If you use multi-calculation, it consumes more time and it makes it complex also, right? So it takes sequential order again in multi-calculation also. For everything, it will check for 0%, 10%, 20%, and again it will be like, sequence.
Yes.
So, okay, fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
It's sequential only. As I said, the only difference is the you can use multi-calculation for actually calculating multiple mathematical operation, and there are few other examples. We'll see that maybe after 2 weekends from now, we can use multi-calculation for some of the advanced stuff. Okay, we will be customizing it to store. When we'll be working upon collection, that time we'll see some advanced application of multi-calculation. Okay. And yeah, so as I said, multi-calculation, if you are substituting multiple calculation with multi-calculation, you may start to see the benefit for if the number of calculations are way too more than 25, 30, something like that. And obviously it makes the workflow a little bit less complex looking. So imagine if we can replace all of this with a single stage, the workflow looks less complex. Here we are doing a very basic stuff, but still our workflow looks a little bit complex, but we are not doing anything complex. We are repeating the same stuff over and over again. In calculation also we are doing the same thing. Calc 2 we are doing the same thing. So the question is, can we replace everything and use a single stage? That is the reason so you are asking about if we can do a multi-calculation stage. We'll do that. We will do a lot of dynamic stuff coming up. Okay, so when we talk about collection and loop, so we can loop a lot of things and we can do it over and over again. Okay, by looping it first, second, third, and in between this we'll be only using a single calculation or anything. Based on the loop, it will be dynamically updated. We'll discuss all this later on, but for this example, this will be the ideal scenario to solve the problem. Okay. Okay. Now, now that we have gone through the choice stage, let's see about solving another problem. What's the problem? How to handle multiple employee salary. Now we are Hi Sakshi, you're in the call.
Hello, sir.
You have missed a lot of things, it seems.
Yes, sir. I'll cover it up.
Okay, so I'm recording this video, and for the last 1 hour, whatever you have missed, that is something you can go through the recorded session, which I'll be uploading to YouTube today, and you can let me know, or you can ping or whatever. Anyone here who is not able to understand anything, you can call me or ping me, and I'll happy to help you. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So Sakshi, for a brief introduction, we have today we have been discussing about decision stage, which is like if-else statement, and choice stage, which is like if you are from a programming background, it's like do-while loop. If while this, no, sorry, it is like a switch statement. To make it familiar, so it is like a switch statement, and it is like a if-else statement. Okay. And this is what we have been discussing about the choice stage. So if anyone is from programming background or not just me, there is something similar concept called switch statement. This is present in most of the programming language: Java, Python, C#, JavaScript. Let me take you an example of, for example, let's take Java. And in switch, what happens is something like this. Let me show you some images. See here, this is what a switch statement looks like. So here we are building the expression. Okay, this is the expression, and for our case, this is the expression here. This text calculator is the expression. You see here. Then case 1. What is case 1? This is the case 1. This node here is case 1, where we are checking salary is greater than 0 and salary is less than 2,50,000. Then case 2, which is this node 2, node 3, node 4. These are different cases. And based on these cases, if matched, if 0% is matched, do something. So we are using statement 1, calculation 1. If this is matched, do something. So something like that. So if anyone is from programming background, they can relate it to this expression, case 1, case 2, case 3. This is the default, which is the otherwise here. So again, if you're not from any programming background, it's absolutely fine. I hope you are able to understand what I am explaining here. But if anyone is from that background, then this is what it relates to. Okay?
Prem, can you go to the canvas, please?
To the?
Canvas.
This one?
The workspace, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
We got the decision as output as what exactly in this now? What was the outcome of it?
The outcome was like what is the tax percentage. So for example, for 7 lakhs, it will give you the tax is 20%.
Okay, but I was just a bit confused. Did we put the salary in the data item as 7 lakh, right? That's the reason it has picked up the 20% criteria. Okay.
Yeah. You are clear now?
Can you put multiple data items just in case,
Yeah, obviously. So see, multiple, again, your use case has to be similar like that. So suppose, for example, you want to check, maybe you want to provide a better salary. So for example, you are providing a bonus to people and you are checking if the salary is greater than 7 lakhs, and if the employee is staying in a metro area, for example in Bangalore, Chennai, or Hyderabad, you want to provide them a 10% more bonus compared to areas like Kolkata or Chandigarh, something like that. So in that case, we are checking multiple. Here we are checking the salary and location of the employee. So how will we go about do that? We have to take another data item, for example, city, and make it as text. And again, we have to provide the value here. And we are not talking about multiple employees. We are talking about a single employee. Okay. So say a employee will either it has to stay in a single location only. So for example, if he or she is staying in Bangalore, okay, and in the text calculation, we can again check if salary is, this is the salary information. We can wrap it off in a bracket, and again we can check and something else, some other if city, whatever you want to check here, if city equal to Bangalore, or any validation that you want to pass, you can pass it here. You can build the complete expression here. Maybe any expression that you want to build, you can take multiple inputs here, whatever you want to check, build your functions here, and then you can validate that and calculate based on that. And if maybe city equal to Bangalore, then you want to do something else. So for example, text, if city equal to Bangalore, if this is the criterion for this, you want to provide them a bonus of maybe 10% more. So what you will do, go to calculation stage, and instead of text is 0%, you may want to update the salary equal to salary into 10% of the salary. So salary divided by 10. So this is the updated salary. Here you are providing them, maybe this may be a wrong calculation, but you are updating the salary with a better value, maybe if they are from a metro area, and their salary is between that. You got my point, right? What I'm trying to explain here. Hello?
Yeah, Prem.
Yeah. So obviously, it depends upon you how many inputs you are taking here. So again, it's not necessary to take a decision stage and calculate the everything here. What you can do alternatively is that you can take more calculation stage here. So maybe example, you can take a calculation stage here, and more maybe multi-calculation stage here, and you can calculate something. You can calculate whatever salary, updated salary based on the city he is living in, and based on the bonus that is allocated, or what do you say, I'm not sure, some salary information. Based on that, populate the salary, and this salary, again, whatever salary is populated based on your formula, this updated salary you are using here in the formula here. Okay. So you can choose to do that. Again, you can calculate something else. Maybe you can put some multiple, you can input a lot of the stuff, store result in somewhere else. Then maybe, in the text calculator, use that variable to calculate the 20% slab. So you can do anything, whatever is your requirement, whatever is your inputs they are providing. Based on that, you can do a lot of stuff, and based on the output, you can get the result. Okay. Okay then. So let me just discard the changes. I hope I have not saved it. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah, tell me. Yeah. Your voice is really very low, Arun. I'm not able to understand there.
What I'm saying is, how many number of arguments can you enter?
Any number of arguments. There is no limit in the number of arguments you can take. There is no limit on the number of arguments you can take. You can take any number of arguments, provided the expression should be valid. You should validate your expression. It's you can input anything here again, and or provide a or operator here, and maybe check something else. City equal to Bangalore or something, and then you can take any operator here. Again, you have to take inside this bracket and all based on your calculation, and put some other value. So there is no limit in the amount of a variable that you can use to check your expression. But again, it will show us some error because this is useless data. We don't have something called CT and all of that stuff. So this kind so my answer is like there is no limit to how many validation you can do. You can do for whatever validation you need, you can do that. Okay.
And then next question is, you are already, so why do you need so many number of calculations? You not directly put the data into output.
Arun, so like how are you attending this session? Are you using earphone or something? Because your voice is really low. You can.
I'm using my earphone. That's the reason. Okay, let me try and log in through the phone.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can ping it here so that I can understand. Yeah, you can better chat here, or you can WhatsApp me also. Okay. You are asking is, do we need to use calc for output, or can the choice be directly linked to output? No, the choice cannot be linked directly to output because the choice does not provide any way for us to. So, for example, this choice test is for criteria. You see here what is written: choice name and choice criteria. So we'll be writing the criteria of the choice. What is the criteria? What is the condition of the choice? So we cannot link this directly to output. So if you are asking if we can directly link this to output, then will not be able to do it. Will not be able to do this to link anywhere or to the end or anywhere. So based on whatever amount of criteria you have, multiple criteria, it will form that amount of nodes for you. Imagine, let's call this as nodes. Based on these nodes, we need to calculate something. Okay, and based on that, we need to populate our output. So that cannot be done. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let's extend this application. So now that we are calculating and checking the salary for a single employee, let me take a scenario where we are calculating the salary information of multiple employees. How will we do that? Now that I am putting a single value only, salary of 7 lakhs. If I'm getting the salary of 7 lakhs of employee 1, then 25 lakhs for employee 2, 30 lakhs for employee 3, 3 lakhs for employee 4. How will I go on about validating each of the employees' information? Here I have the ability to pass a single data only. My input is only a salary, and I'm not going to ask to the salary of employee 1 and hardcore 7 lakhs here, then get the output. Go to then change the input and write the output again and copy it somewhere else. This will not be a perfect use case. So we're going to see something which solves this problem, a stage which solves this problem and implements the multiple data item, and takes input for multiple. Okay, who just joined? Okay. So let's see that how we can achieve for multiple employee. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this use case. I'm going to extend the same use case because the calculation of salary is going to remain same. Okay, the way the salary gets calculated is going to remain same, but the thing is we are going to do it for multiple employees. So how will I extend it? So what I want is I want to extend it, but again I don't want to disturb my already working like solution. I don't want to change my working solution, but I want to do something over here. So what I can do in that scenario, Blue Prism does not have like you can there is no way to copy paste the process. So otherwise I would have copied it here and paste it here so that we can put it as it is and we could have worked on the new one. So what you can do in such a scenario is, and it is very helpful. So what you can do is go to File, go to Save As, and you can save it as multi-data use case maybe. Okay, USE. Okay, click Next, and you can provide a description or leave it as blank because it is optional. Click Save. Now as you can see, multi-data use case is coming here. So I got my multi-data use case here. However, my choice stage remains here. So I can just drag and drop to this June 9/11 folder, and I can start working on this. So in this way, you are not changing whatever is there in choice stage 3, but again, you are copying everything from whatever was there in choice stage 3 and extending this one. Okay, so this is the way you can follow to do something and extend the behavior. Okay, let's do that. Let's implement it for multiple employees. So for storing multiple data, so how will you store multiple data? So in programming languages, so what I'm going to do in most of the scenario is I'm going to relate it to a programming language, but it is not important that you know the programming language because I'm going to explain it from scratch. Just that I'm going to relate it to you so that you understand that there is a concept like that exists in the programming language. So we are going it backwards here. So we are just compare Blue Prism to programming language. We are not coming it from there. Okay. So we have something called array or array list in programming languages. If so what they do is they store multiple data of same type. So for example, I want to store 10 10 employees salary information. So the way they get stored is in the memory, in your computer's memory, they will be stored like this. There will be a size of 10 will be initially created, and okay, I don't know how to create. So there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. 10 will be created, and each employee's salary information will be stored here. For example, employees 1 salary information, employees 2 here, employee 3 here, employee 4 here. So something like this data structure we have in Blue Prism, where we can store multiple number of information of the same type. Okay, till now what we have seen is storing a single information in a data item where we can store only a single value, salary, name, data 1, number 1, like that. But how about if we can store multiple value in a single data structure? How about I can store multiple values and I can collect it together. So if I store multiple salary information, so for example salary of employee 1, again I can loop through this. I can loop through one by one and calculate the same text. So for example employees 1, so salary 1 will go here and the same workflow will be executed. This workflow will be executed. Then once it is completed, then it sees that it is completed here. Then it will go to here for employee 2. Again, it will come and execute the same workflow and calculate the text of employee 2. Then it will come here, calculate the tax of employee 3 and something like that. So we are going to use this structure called collection. We'll be calling that at collection in Blue Prism. Also, the name collection is also used in programming language as well. This is the same name. So collection is same everywhere. So if you check collection in Java, so they are the same. Okay, so this is the same concept that is being implemented using in Blue Prism also. We are going to use the same stuff without writing a single line of code. And we are going to use the loop stage. Loop stage here, we have a loop start and loop end. So this loop, what it will do, it will pick one data at a time. So in the collection, as the symbol suggests multi-layer data, the loop, what it will do is that it will pick one at a time. The loop will help to pick one at a time in the collection. The collection contains 10 data. Loop will continue for execution of all the 10 rows, first, second, third, or till the end of the last data. So we'll be using a collection to store multiple data, and we'll be using a loop start and loop end to loop through all the data in the collection one by one. So let's do it for salary. Let's take multiple salary for multiple employees, then loop them one by one and calculate the tax for them. So I'm going to delete this, and what I'm going to do is take a collection, okay, drag and drop a collection here. Again, using the collection we can store multiple data. So double click on the collection. Let's name it as employee collection, and it is asking us to define different fields that you want. So what are the fields that we want? Let's say 2 fields, okay. One is name of the employee, and the type is obviously text. You can provide a description. This is the name of the employee or something like that. And the second is the salary. Okay. This collection and the loop is going to be a little bit different from whatever we have been discussing. And collection is the most widely, mostly used stages in the whole like Blue Prism. So provide some special attention to this because we are going to use this a lot. And salary is going to be a number, and that's it. So we have 2 fields. One is name and salary. So let's provide some value here, initial value. We have fields, we have defined fields. Now we'll be providing some initial value. Now you have something called add row. Now that you have added field, now again, you can remove fields. So for example, I am calculating gender of an employee, okay, for salary. Then I later realized that I'm not concerned with gender to calculate an employee's salary. So I can remove the field here, okay, something like that. If there is some extra information here, you can remove it. You may want to, just add a field also. You can also clear fields to remove all the fields, right? Yeah. So it was name and it was salary. So name is text and salary is number. Initial value, we want to put some value here we want to put multiple value for employees. So name and salary information for multiple people. Let's add that. Let's add 4 rows. So for example, 4 data so name of the first employee is Tom, and salary is maybe 6 lakhs, and then Harry, it is 25. Nick, and I don't know what is it. Porter, it is around 3 lakhs. Okay, so these are the initial value we have. So we are going to calculate tax for each of the employee. Okay, and let's do one thing. Let's take another field called tax. Okay, and initially that field will be empty, and after calculation we are going to populate that field. Okay, so I'm going to add another field called text slab, for example, and let's add it something called text. And in the initial value, the text slab is empty for everyone. Why it is empty? Because we have to calculate it and fill it up, right? For each of the employee, we are going to calculate the tax based on the salary. And in the output, let's do one thing. In the output, let's try to put it output as let's take the name from here. Dynamically we'll be taking the name, and the output will be populating as Tom has a tax of maybe whatever percent we get here. If it is 10%, then it is 10%. If it is 20, it is 20%, and all of that. So this part of the output is going to be coming from the calculation stage. We already do this, right? A tax percentage is 0%, tax is 10%, tax is 20. Okay. So this part of the output is going to come from that calculation box. However, this part of the output, the Tom and Harry, Nick and Porter, they are going to come from the name here. So we are going to append those two, name and the output, and we're going to combine and produce the final output. Okay, let's do this. So initially the output is empty. Okay, and these are the inputs, name and salary. Click OK here. Now that we have got the name and salary here, as I told you, we need to take one information at a time. So what we are going to take? We are going to take first row salary information. So first row salary, which is 6 lakh, and input the salary here. So input the salary here. So first row 6 lakhs will go here, and 6 lakh will be checked. Okay, 0% no, 10% no, it is 20%. Now it will be updated as 20%. Now again, second data will be picked, which is 25 lakhs, and it has to go through this. Then third row it has to go through this, and fourth row it has to go through this also. And for each of the record, the text will be updated from here. Okay. So what we need to do is that we need to loop this employee collection one by one for 4 times. Okay, and for each time we need to process this calculation. So let's do that. So I'm going to delete this link here, and I'm going to use another stage called loop. Okay, as I was telling you before, it is when you drag and drop a loop, it will also drag a loop end with you, loop start and loop end. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that okay, I have to readjust a little bit here. Here, let's put loop start here. After the start, we are going to do a loop start. Okay, and I'm no more going to use this salary and output, because my salary is coming from here and my output is this one. Okay, this is my output. So I can choose to remove this. So select all, right click and delete, or use the delete button in your keyboard. Then let's put it here so that we can see this, and loop start and loop end. What I'm going to loop? I'm going to loop the employee collection. So double click on the loop start and assign the employee collection here. So we are telling that I am going to loop the employee collection one after another, right? Once I decide that, now my first data will be picked, right? So yeah, so my first data will be picked. So what is my data? First data is, instead of salary, see here we have salary, but initially we had salary, but we do not have salary anymore. What we have employee.salary. How will we access this field? This field is employee.salary. This field is employee.name. This field is employee.taxslab. So instead of normal salary, we have employee.salary. So let's do that. Let's change all this field now. Instead of salary, what we are going to do is, see here, when I created an employee collection and provided 3 fields, all the fields are in a tree structure here. Under collection, I have the collection called employee. Under the employee collection, I have employee name, employee.salary, and employee.taxslab. So I'm going to use that employee.salary instead of salary here. It makes sense, right? Let me know if anyone you're facing any difficulty understanding this. Employee.salary. Okay, and here also either I can choose to copy this, the whole employee.salary, and just replace this. And now I'm going to use the same one everywhere, and we'll change it. So here it is 30% if it is greater than 10 lakhs, if it is greater than equal to 5 lakhs. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And less than 10 lakhs. Okay, it is 20%, and again, if it is greater than equal to 2,50,000 and less than 5 lakhs, if it is okay. This is the new tax calculation, because we're no more using the salary, we're using the employee.salary. So for the first employee, the employee.salary will be 6 lakhs. For the second employee, it will be 25 lakhs, whatever is the value. Okay, click OK here. Apart from that, what else is the change? Anyone can suggest? Apart, see, we have written employee. We are taking input as employee.salary. Okay, but now initially we are writing it to the output field, but now we don't have the output field. We have to write to this field here. For each employee, we have to write to this field. So how shall we go about writing it to tax slab field? Any suggestion here? What shall I update?
In calculation one part, can we change like employee dot name?
No, we are not writing it to name. We are updating the tax slab. Right. You got my point. We are not updating the name. We are updating the tax slab here. Right.
Okay.
So
then
yeah.
employee
Okay. Are you saying about here name?
Yeah. See, we need to
Yeah.
put the output like Tom has a tax equals to 0%.
Yes.
And Harry
Correct.
has something, right?
Yeah. You're correct. So name we have to populate here, but what shall we change here? Because we don't have output anymore, right? We cannot store that in output.
Tax, right?
Yeah. So we are going to store in employee.tax slab, and here we are going to store it in Tom has a salary of 10% or whatever. So how shall we again write that Tom has a salary of 10%? Any suggestion? How can we combine Tom and then a hard coded value? What shall I write?
Operand A and B use employee name and employee salary.
Yeah, correct. But what is the function that's?
Will be concatenate.
Yeah, correct. It's concatenate because, yeah, you both are correct. We are going to use operand A and operand B, and then we are going to concatenate both of the expression. So in operand B, I have to use employee.name, so it gives me Tom. And in operand B, I have to put double quotes because this is a text operation. And okay, so if you're not speaking, you can go on mute. So Tom, I got Tom here, and here I can write has a tax of 0%. Okay, and I can put a space here so that after Tom I get a space. So Tom, then space has a tax of 0%. Then I can paste it, and it will give me the whole expression. And this is for let me rename it to 0%.
Can you repeat this again if you don't mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So okay. Okay. Sure. Let me repeat it. So in the calculation, initially we had what tax is 0%, and we are storing that in output. But here, where we'll store it is whatever we have created the blank. We are going to store it in tax slab because this is our output currently. So for Tom, the output has to be in the tax slab should be updated to Tom has a tax slab of 0%. Harry has a tax slab of 30%, whatever. So we are going to write to the tax slab field. We are going to write to the tax slab column. So to do that, in the calculation, as we are not writing it to the output data item, we are writing it to the employee.textslab. This part you understood? We are storing everything in the employee.textslab, all the output, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now what we are storing? We are storing Tom has a tax of 0%. So from where this Tom is coming from? The Tom is coming from the employee.name. So instead of Tom, because this is dynamic and we don't know it is Tom or something, we have to use employee.name here. Okay, and has a tax percent of 0% has to be combined with this employee name. So we cannot write a combined operation like this. So what we have to do? We have to put this on, inside double quotes because this is a text, and we have to combine with a concatenation operator, which is this one, ampersand. Okay, so this expression is formed. So you can validate this expression. This expression is valid. So if you are very new or if it looks a little complex, so alternatively, I was showing you a way to form this expression by going to the concatenate operator. So in the operand A, we have the employee.name. Then in the operand B, we have has a tax percent of 0%. So let's put the operand B first here. We can put it in any order. And in the employee name, either we can write it here or we can drag and drop the employee name here. Let's remove the whole and paste it. It will form the whole expression like employee name ampersand has a tax of 0%. Did you get it? Okay. So this is the.
Yes.
Do you want me to? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is the whole expression. Now I'm going to do the same for everything. So of 10%, and let's name it 10% slab. And okay, give me 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So similarly, 20%, and this is 20% slab, and this is for 30%, and this is the 30% slab. So again, in the future we are again, going to optimize this like this one, and here we can just continue to do invalid salary. Maybe we can write employee name has an invalid salary. Okay, so and oh sorry, we have to store everything in the employee.textslab. That is something which I have not done, I guess. So if you are running like this, you will get an error that there is no data item called output, and you should be from the error you should be able to understand and fix the issue. Okay. So now that we are done with this, what we can do is we can connect everything. So we can now connect the start, then we are looping the employee from here, and when we are looping, so the first employee row 1 of 4, you see here there are 4 rows, so it is taking, currently it is on row 1 of 4, so row 1 of 4 will execute. And what is there in row 1 of 4? 6,000, it will be executed, then row 2 of 4 and everything. So let's execute that, then we'll take a overview of what actually happened. Okay. And loop end, where should I connect loop end? I should connect before end state. So now I should connect everything to loop end. Drag and drop here, and so this is my workflow. Let me reset it. There is no error. So let's run it. And also, when we run it, what will happen is this row number will be also updated. Currently row 1 of 4. Second time when it updates row 2 of 4, 3 of 4, and 4 of 4. When all the rows are executed, my loop ends and it will reach the end stage here. So I'm running it. I'm putting it in a normal mode so that you can see what is happening. Now row 2 is executing. Now row 3, and now row 4 is executing. Now all the rows completed, so it is going to end stage. Now let's open up the employee collection, and we have to go to current value to see all the latest value. So remember, current value initially was disabled. We could not access it because there was no current value, only initial value. Now that we have updated the collection, we'll get the updated value in current value. Now if you go here, you see all the outputs are populated. Tom has a tax of 20%, and Harry has something, Nick Porter, whatever we have. So this way we are able to calculate the tax of multiple employees. Okay. Any doubts here? Whatever you want to understand. You understood, right? How it happened and how you can make it happen for yourself if you are practicing something. Okay. So name, salary, and tax. Okay. Fine. Okay, so if you have understood this, Arun and Geetika. So actually, I'm not sure if I have communicated to you guys. We are planning to do the session till 11:30. I forgot if I have communicated. So is this fine for you guys for till 11:30?
Yes, Prem, it's fine for me.
Arun?
Yeah, it works. It works. It works.
Okay, cool. So others, I guess I have communicated. So let's do that again. So now that we have returned to the employee collection, let me check what we can discuss now. Okay, let's do one thing. Now that we have getting it from direct, where we are getting this value, we are hard coding this value from our side, right? So we are putting Tom, Harry, Nick, Porter, and we are putting all this value. But in a real-time system, there will be very, hardly any, scenario where you'll be putting this value by yourself and you'll be processing it, right? Like there will be scenario, but there will be very less scenario here where you'll be hard coding all this value. You'll be, taking all this value by yourself, all the employee information by yourself, then process it. So what is a better scenario in a real time is maybe, for whatever the project you are doing, either you can get the data from a database, either you will get all the employee information for a database, or mostly you will get all the employee information in an Excel sheet. So for example, if you are getting all the information in an Excel sheet of maybe 1,000 rows, if there are 1,000 employees, then you need to process the Excel sheet and write the output. So for example, here we have name, then salary, and tax slab, right? And here we have Tom, Nick, Harry, Porter. Okay, so if we have this in a real time, most probably we'll have something like this. And obviously the Excel is not going to be this like simple. You may have you'll be having a lot of other fields as well, whatever you want, other columns, and it may go to a length of 1,000, 2,000, anything. And there you will be, for example, getting a salary of 10 lakhs or whatever value. So so there are a lot of input source that can happen in the real-time environment. So most probably it can happen to be an Excel sheet, or it can be from a database that you'll be writing some SQL query, or if there is a developer who is good in SQL, he has to write the SQL query, and or it will be from a API. Okay, so API is we'll talk about API. API is basically your application programming interfaces, where we'll be calling an API the way, for example, we call Google Maps API to get the coordinates of a location. Okay, Uber and Ola, the way they get your location and send a cab to you is that they call Google Maps API, maps.google.com/your location, because you have switched on location service in your Android or iPhone. So that they take that location, for example, 15.23 is the latitude, comma something is the longitude, and that location they send to map server, and they get some response that all the cabs around 5 kilometer radius, right? So that's a separate topic. We can talk a lot about that, but this understand the API function like that. When you make a call and you, for example, get 1,000 records of your company's employee information, and your company has to be exposed the API, api.infosys.com/employee-info/maybe something. Okay, so this will also give you a result of all the employee information in a different format, maybe in a XML format or in a JSON format. Again, in the future, we are going to talk about how to consume web services like that. API, any API you can consume, Google Maps API or any employee database API. We'll be seeing how to pass XML data and to do a lot of operation. Okay. For now, let's take an example of an Excel sheet. So in a real-time scenario, it is very highly likely that you will get a lot of Excel sheet data to process, and you are never going to do it manually, right? Because you are learning this automation to automate that stuff. So in fact, a lot of the companies that are implementing a lot of RPA solution to remove people who are using a lot of manual Excel sheet operation. Obviously, if you are good in macros and something, you can write some of the code to automate that. But again, that also takes some time, and you have to be good in that. What Blue Prism provides us is a very good interface for almost automating everything inside Microsoft Excel. Apart from that, you can also write your macros code or whatever you want on top of that. Okay. So what we're going to automate now is, instead of taking this information, whatever predefined information we are putting it here, we are going to remove everything, and we are going to take the information from the Excel sheet. Okay, we are going to read from the Excel sheet, then process everything. Okay, so let's do that. So let's take a information 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 lakhs and 13. I don't know how much this is. 6,50,000. Okay, and one is maybe 3 lakhs. Okay, this is the information we have. And let me save it on desktop, and salary, employee salary, EMP salary. Okay, and what we are going to do is, we are going to read this data from my desktop. Save. We're going to read all this data from the desktop, and if time permits today, we'll see how we can write it back to the Excel sheet. Otherwise, we'll see how to process everything from Excel sheet, and most probably, our aim is to write it back to the same Excel sheet and populate the text lab information. Okay, so I'm saving it, and let's close it. And I'm also creating a new copy for this called Excel sheet operation. So save it, and Excel sheet example, and next, save. So this became Excel sheet example now. So close it and obviously it is created somewhere else. So this one I'm going to drag and drop to this folder because it will be normally created under process when you save as something. So double click the Excel sheet example, and the previous example we are going to extend it to take the input from an Excel sheet instead of the initial value. Previously we were filling with initial value, right? So we are not using that. We are not going to do that. We are going to take the input from Excel sheet. Okay. Now that we are going to use the Excel sheet, Blue Prism provides us a default interface to work upon a lot of functionality of the Excel sheet, and that functionality you can access only if you import those functionality to your Blue Prism environment. And how will you import it? Let me show you. So what you have to do is you have to go to File. Okay, you have to do this, otherwise you will not be able to perform this activity. Whatever task I am performing, I am going to perform. You have to go to File in the home page of the Blue Prism. Then you have to go to Import and go to Browse, then to your C drive, okay, Program Files, and Blue Prism Limited, Blue Prism Automate, inside that VBO, and inside that you have something called, so we have a lot of we have a lot of VBO. These are VBO, and we have not discussed VBO. VBO are Visual Business Object, and this is we are going to talk extensively about that when we discuss the object. Studio is in fact we are going to create a lot of objects ourselves, and we are going to integrate that with the Process Studio. For now, Blue Prism itself, the Blue Prism company provides us a lot of inbuilt Visual Business Object or objects, so that we can perform activities on a lot of most commonly used application like Excel, Word. They also provide some connectors for PDF. I'll when I get that, I'll provide you. Then how to connect to Oracle database, they provide us that OLEDB Oracle database, to SQL Server, POP3 SMTP to send automated email to people. POP is basically your post office protocol, and SMTP is your simple mail transfer protocol. When you send something in the website, they follow different protocols like HTTP in the website or HTTPS. And again, when you transfer your file to a server, that they follow FTP, file transfer protocol. So when we send email to someone else, that email goes to an email server, and that email server implements the technology or the protocol called post office protocol and simple mail transfer protocol. We're going to see very good demos about all this, whatever we have. For time being, let's not worry about what we have here. In the meantime, if you want, you can go through each of them and see what these are. But we're going to see demos for most of this. Today we are going to talk about the BPA object MS Excel. Okay, MS Excel we are going to use because we are trying to automate the Excel sheet. So click this and open, and it gives you the whole path. Okay, so this is the path. So let me ping you here also, or you can follow the video. You have to go to C, Program Files, Blue Prism Limited, Blue Prism Automate, and the VBO folder, and inside that you get a lot of connectors. So we can say this as connectors because they connect to a third-party application like Excel sheet, Word, or Outlook, anything. And click Next. And I already have imported this, so it is telling me to override the existing business object with the incoming business object. I'm not going to do that, so because this is the first, if you are doing this for first time, you have to do it. I'm not going to do it, so I'm going to cancel. What you could have done is finish option will come and do that. I'm going to cancel this and double click to work upon that. So once you import that, Blue Prism provides you a lot of options to work upon the Excel sheet. Okay, and those all the options, all the activities that Blue Prism provides, all of that will be implemented by the action stage. So now today we are going to talk about one more stage called action stage, using which we'll be implementing the Excel sheet or any other whatever you have imported, Excel sheet, for Word or for email, whatever you have imported, you have to execute that through action stage only. Okay, so this is one of the most important stage in Blue Prism, and we are going to use this very extensively when we also work with Object Studio. So what I will do is, let me delete this. So my source of input is an Excel sheet now, right? But as you see here, I was already able to, I was already able to calculate my text when I added my data here. When I added few rows of data here, everything is set. Okay, only thing is that I don't have data here now, and I'm going to get the data from Excel sheet. So what will be the best scenario to achieve that? We have done everything. Only thing is the source of input is my Excel sheet. So if I can somehow get all the data from Excel sheet and put it here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever rows I have, if I can populate the value here, then everything else is pre-designed for me. Everything else is designed here. It will be taken care of automatically. So what we'll do now is we'll read each row of the Excel sheet and we'll populate this employee collection, so that the rest of the things will be automatically taken care of, for which we have already designed a workflow. Okay, so let's try to get all the data from Excel sheet to collection. The rest of the things are done. So for that, I have to do some pre-processing here. After start stage, I have to get the data in the Excel sheet, populate the employee information, then do this processing. So I'm deleting this node, and let's drag and drop an action stage. So the first thing that we need to do when we work with any third-party application like Excel or Word is that we need to create an instance of that. Okay, so double click on the action, and you see here the name of the action. So initialize action maybe. Okay, we're taking the first step for Excel sheet. So here, when you import it, what you will see is under business object, you will be start seeing an option called MS Excel VBO. This option will not come for you if you are not importing in from the C drive. Okay, you have to import so that you get this option. Select MS Excel VBO. Once you select it, there are a lot of actions that you can perform for a Excel sheet. See, there are a lot of action. Activate workbook, attach something, close workbook, copy data, then create worksheet, cut, delete, exit, find next empty cell, format cell. You can format cell, get cell value, and there are a lot of like action that you can do to an Excel sheet. Okay. So out of all this, before you perform any activity, what you have to do is you have to do something called create instance. You have to create an instance of the Excel sheet. Why it is important? Because anything that you do, you need to initialize that. Okay, so in programming languages also, when we create a new class, we need to create an instance of the class by defining an object. We need to create the object. So in any, whatever technically you are doing, so in one way or other, you have to create an instance first. Then once it is initialized, you can work upon the same Excel sheet. So when you select create instance, there are 3 tabs here: input, output, and condition. Condition, we'll see what is a condition. Condition is also, if you go to main page, here also you have the condition. If you go to this information box, right? Information box, you have the condition here. These are like, very rarely used if you want to execute something before the process executes, and if you want to release something after the process execute, those cases will be using this pre-condition and post-condition. We'll see that later. For now, let's concentrate on the input and output. Leave the condition as it is. So we have 2 tabs, for example. One is input and one is output. In the input, it is written enable event. And one good thing is that when you don't understand what exactly is this, you can hover your mouse over here. See, it is telling that flag to indicate that events should be enabled or disabled on the attached instance, default to true. So it is telling that this flag is to indicate if the events will be enabled or disabled. What is an event? Event is anything, any operation that you do in the Excel sheet, everything is an event. Okay. So obviously we are going to perform a lot of operation. We are going to modify the contents, get the data, and a lot of other stuff. So we'll always enable the events because we are going to perform a lot of events on the Excel sheet. So it is by default it is true. So if you are leaving this as blank, it is true, or you can write true by yourself, but it doesn't make sense. It is true by default. If you want to make it false, then you can make it false. Otherwise you can put it to default. In the output, we have something called handle, and this is a data type is number. The handle will tell you the, it will kind of initialize, it will allocate a handle to your Excel sheet. So for example, let's see what a handle description is. An integer which can be used to identify the created instance in subsequent action. Okay, so what it means is that, so integer is a number. Okay, so integer means a number. So this number, this handle number, will be used to tell Blue Prism that which exact Excel sheet instance you're working upon. So what can happen is that I am reading an Excel sheet. In the same time, suppose there's a decision state. Okay, in the decision stage, for the yes, I am reading the Excel sheet. In the no, maybe I am writing it, or in the yes, I am reading sheet 1, whereas in the no, I am reading sheet 2 in the Excel sheet. Okay, there are different sheets right here. This is sheet 1, sheet 2, anything can be here. Okay, so based on the handle number, one handle specifies to a single instance of this Excel sheet. So the handle number relates to this Excel sheet. So whenever I'm creating a handle, it relates to that specific Excel sheet. That is the reason it says, the handle, an integer which can be used to identify the created instance in subsequent action. So this instance that I am creating instance, in future, whatever task I am performing on the same Excel sheet, Blue Prism will know that, okay, this is the chain of events that is happening with the same Excel sheet by looking at this handle. And we are going to use the handle in all the subsequent usage of the Excel sheet. Okay, let's see that. So let's do that. Let's create the handle. So how can I create the handle? It is a number data type. So I can drag and drop a data item called handle, or handle data item, for example, handle DI. Put a data item, data type as number, click OK, and initialize object, go to output, and obviously drag and drop the handle DI. This is one of the way to create the create and store the data item. Alternatively, what we can do, and we are going to do this mostly from now on, I'm going to delete this. If I click this button, there is a, cubicle shape of button, right? If you click this, it will automatically create a new data item with the data type as number, and the name will be the name of the whatever name here it is. So if I click this, automatically something called handle gets created, and its data type is also number, and the name comes from here. Okay, so I'm going to follow this approach from in this example and from now on. If ever I get a chance to create something, I'll create it from here. Okay, so let's delete this handle DI. Okay, now we got the handles which will identify which exact Excel we are working upon throughout the event, throughout the workflow, and we can relate to this in all the upcoming action in the Excel sheet. Now that we have initialized Excel sheet, better we can call it create instance. Now that we have created an instance of Excel sheet, what we can do second is that we can open the workbook. We need to open the Excel sheet to work upon that, right? So we need to open the Excel sheet to work upon that. So what we can do is business object same. Where is that? MS Excel. And here we have something called open workbook. We are going to open the workbook. Handle, it is telling us to provide the handle. As I told you, handle will be used in all subsequent action to, so that it understands which exact Excel sheet it is continuing to work upon. So I already have the handle, so I'll just drag and drop and put it here. File name is our file name in the desktop. So how to get the file name? You can go to properties and either get it from here and write then write this name after that. Or alternatively, what you can do, you can click the shift button in your keyboard, shift right click, and there's an option called copy as path. Okay, shift right click, copy as path, and you can paste it here. It will give you the whole path of the Excel sheet. Okay, so let's name it as open workbook, and this is the input. Let's see what is there in the output. In the output, we have something called workbook name. So what is a workbook name? Workbook name means we are going to refer to this Excel sheet later in our application, and we are not going to use this hard-coded file name again and again. We need a virtual reference to this file name. Okay, so for that purpose, we are going to use the workbook name. It says the name used by Excel sheet to identify the workbook. Usually this is file name without the path. So we are not going to use this whole file name. We are going to use a reference to the file name using the workbook name. So I'm going to again click this button, and it will create a workbook name for me automatically, and I'm going to use that. We are done with this, right? So we have opened the Excel sheet now. Because now we have opened it, now this is open. So now what we'll do, we are going to take all this data and put it in the employee collection. Now in the employee collection, we don't have any data. Our aim is to populate the data from the Excel in the collection. So for that, let's create another action. Double click, select Excel VBO, and select something called get worksheet as collection. Get worksheet as collection. So what is the worksheet? We will see what a worksheet and workbook is. So this particular whole Excel sheet is a workbook. However, this sheet 1, sheet 2, these are different, tabs for the workbook. So the action we have chosen is get worksheet as collection. So we are going to take all the data from the Excel sheet, and we are going to populate the collection here. So this solves our purpose. We are able to populate we are going to take all the data from the Excel sheet, and we are going to populate the collection. Once it is populated, we have done everything here. So here, get worksheet as collection. Now we have few here. We have handle. And workbook name also we have, because we created this in the last step. You remember here in the last step in the output, we created workbook name here. This one we created. So we are going to use that. So we are going to use the workbook name, drag and drop. Worksheet name, let's see what is this. This is sheet 1. This is the name of the worksheet. So let's write that. Alternatively, you can create a new data item of data type text. You can write this value, and you can drag and drop that data item here, or you can directly hard code it here. Anything is fine. In the output, we have the collection. Now, which collection we are going to populate? We already have it, employee collection. So let's drag and drop the employee collection, right? So everything is set now. What is happening? So now that we are done with this, now let's connect, and I'm going to connect everything. So okay, let me tell you about another stage here to avoid this kind of, what do you say, 60-degree things. So this is a like wrong way of connecting it, right? You can choose to do it, but try to make it a little bit good looking, so that it makes sense when everything is square type of thing. So instead of making it an angle like this, you can choose to use something called anchor. Okay, let me tell about this. So this anchor stays here. This is a connector. It does not have any functional activity. It doesn't solve any functional purpose, but these are just connectors. So for example, if I put the anchor here, then what I can do, I can just connect here and connect it here. Okay. So I'm using a anchor for this. You understand the role of anchor, right? We're not going to use this anchor for, it doesn't have any functional role here. It is just connects. It just serves like a anchor only, connector only. So we are using this to just make it like square type of looks to give it just that. So now get worksheet collection is filling up the collection here. It is going to populate the collection, and rest of the things we have already specified, employee collection. So let's do that. So I'm going to reset. Now that we have done everything, I'm going to reset it. And what I'm going to do is, when I'm going to use this pause button, okay, when my workflow reaches here, I'm going to pause it so that we can double click the employee and see if actually all the data from the Excel sheet are coming or not. So let's name it something else here, Tom. This one, and so that, yeah, last time also we did the same thing. Okay, now let's run it. So one thing is that you have to close your application. You have to whatever you are trying to, if you have opened it, you should close it, because Blue Prism will take the log this Excel. It will read and it will log the Excel sheet whenever it is reading. So you should choose to close this whenever you are trying to access that through Blue Prism. And now let's run it. And I'm going to close when it reaches here, and we'll check if employee collection is getting populated correctly. Okay, I paused it. So as you can see here, handle is 1. Handle is populated with 1 because this is the only instance of the Excel sheet running. Workbook name is populated with employee salary.xls because this is the name of the Excel sheet. Workbook name, the virtual reference to the Excel sheet. And you see here, employee is populated with 4 rows, row 1 of 4. Now if you go to current value, see Tom 1, Captain, Harry, Porter, and all that is here. So we are successful in importing all the data from the Excel sheet to the collection. Now everything else is simple. Now what it should do is it should be able to populate the text lab. So you can resume the operation from here. So this is one of the way you can pause and check what is happening. Any intermediate check if you want to do, you can always pause it. Okay, now let's see here, and current value, Tom 1 has an invalid salary. So due to some reason, it is taking an invalid salary. Okay, maybe some wrong data in the Excel sheet. You can check that at home. But anyway, you understood it, right? The purpose. Our aim is to like take whatever data was there in the Excel sheet. Okay, now one thing. Now let's open this one. As you can see, employee salary.xls is locked for editing. So it is locked for editing by Blue Prism only. This Blue Prism tool has locked it for editing because it is operating on the Excel sheet. We have not manually opened it anywhere. So it is locked by Blue Prism tool only. So again, as this was getting progressed, as this was taking the as this was reading the data from the Excel sheet did not get launched automatically, right? So if you want that, you can do that also. There is an action called in the MS Excel. There is something called show. If you do a show, and you just have to put the handle here. So whenever you are working upon this Excel, okay, then it will launch the Excel sheet here. It will launch here. Previously, it did it, behind the scene, everything for you. If you want to see which Excel sheet it launched for you, you can use this show Excel sheet. You can connect from here to here and then here to here. Okay, you can choose to do that. Now I'm going to cancel it, and if I reset it, then I'll be able to access the Excel sheet. Now Blue Prism still thinks that I'm using the Excel sheet. If I reset it, I should be able to access that. So again, I'm not going to use this show Excel. You can do this as part of your assignment or something. You can try to do this. Okay. And that's it about reading the Excel sheet and populating the Excel sheet, then writing it back to the Excel sheet. Any doubts here in the reading part? No doubts? You're clear, right? Okay. Okay. So okay. So we'll not be having time to write it back to the Excel sheet. Okay, let's close this session from here. In the next session, what I'll do is I'll walk you through whatever we have done today. And what we'll do is we will try to write it back to the Excel sheet and do maybe different. Yes, Sagar, tell me. Okay. So anything you want to understand here? You're fine. You understood everything, right? Oh. No, I'm not able to hear anyone. Okay. I'm not able to. I'm not sure what happened.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Were you in mute?
No, not at all. I think my headphone cord was disconnected actually. No issue. You're going to upload this videos on YouTube, right? And it will.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, last session and today's session, I'm going to upload it to YouTube. And unfortunately, you are not going to, download this. You are not able to download this because I'm going to make it private. And you have to log in through your Gmail ID, whatever you have provided me to watch this video. This will be private video. If you have any, if your net is slower, you want to download it, then let me know. For a specific time slot, I'll make it public. So you can use a YouTube downloader, online YouTube downloader, and you can copy paste the link and you can download the video for the time being. Otherwise, it will be there in the YouTube and you can access it anytime.
Can we download it offline just in case we don't have net connection?
So see, if you want to download, so what I'm going to do is I'll not be able to upload it now because I have to do a lot of stuff. I have to download it from a different server from this server. Then so today night I will upload it, and once I upload, I'll ping you guys. So I'll provide you around 3 days of window to download it. Within 3 days you can download it, 3-4 days. Then I'll make it private. Okay. The problem why I'm making it private is in one of the previous batches there was a candidate. A lot of candidates were discussing their private whatever projects they are doing in the company, like Bank of America, BMW, and if I also is working in my company with my project, I'm not supposed to discuss internal projects in the classes. So I should not make it publicly available. So that is the reason I'm making it private. But I'll surely, with 3-4 days are sufficient to download one video. I'll tell you, you can download that. After that, I can proceed to make it private. And you have to log in with your Gmail ID to access the same after that. Okay?
So in this example,
sorry?
In this example, we did not export the output in our Excel sheet, right?
Yeah, we did not do that because we are running out of time. So we'll do that in the next class. Or if you want to take this as an, assignment, you can try to do that. But anyway, we are going to use that, next class. You can try to do this by yourself if you want. You can use something called MS Excel VBO, and you have this write collection. Okay, try to explore this action, write collection, where you are taking all the data from the collection and writing it to the Excel sheet. Explore this one, and anyway, we are going to cover this. But if you do it by yourself, then that's really great.
Okay,
in this example, you just read the data. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Prem, one question and one request.
Okay.
It's just a general question. And are you guys going to start any learning classes online?
Learning classes online means?
Machine learning class.
Machine learning? No. Machine learning we are not going to start because see, I know a little bit of machine learning, but I don't know in a level to teach people. And normally I'm the only one who handles everything here. Okay, so we don't have instructors and all. So for machine learning, you can choose to work with Udemy if you want to like learn the basics of machine learning, statistics and all. If you want to explore different frameworks like TensorFlow and all, you can go ahead and do that. But you know, we are not going to cover machine learning.
Okay. After this course, can I get back to you on a phone call?
Yeah, sure. You can, if you want a learning path for machine learning, then I can let you know. And if you want to know deeper about that, then my colleagues are working in very good companies in machine learning about autonomous driving and all of that stuff. So I can connect you with you there. So you can connect with me.
Okay, no problem. I'll give you a call once the session is over, if that's okay with you.
Not now, because so now what I'm planning to do is I'll be busy at 2 o'clock. I have another batch before 2. So let's talk about sometime in the evening, or maybe tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll call you. Okay.
Fine, no issues.
Okay. And yeah, Arun and what do you name? Geetika. For you, the Blue Prism tool is not installed, right? So
Yeah.
You can like, I need a break for around 15 minutes because you know I'm a little bit tired. So no, Arun, we can like install in other drives also, D drive and all. So others can drop off from the call. What I'll do is, I talked about an assignment, right? The farmer and fields to calculate the maximum amount of tree. So I'm going to write that assignment in a WordPad, and I'm going to upload that also. And I'm going to maintain an Excel sheet which will contain the links to YouTube so that you can access. Also, if you want, let me know. I can export this workflow and provide it to you. You can import it directly in your Blue Prism environment, and you can make some modification if you want. And that's it. I'll make all the uploads, all the necessary uploads tomorrow morning most probably, and ping you in the group. And yeah, that's it. So others can drop off if you don't have anything to ask. And I just need Arun and Geetika. But again, guys, I need some time, 15 minutes. I need a break. Then shall we connect after 15 to 20 minutes, Arun, Geetika?
Okay,
Yeah,
Prem,
I'm okay with that.
Sagar here.
Yes, Sagar.
Even I was having some issues with running the bat file and everything. So
Batch file, right? Okay, then. So the only thing is that I can control only one laptop at a time from remote desktop. So I'll do one at a time. So if based on your priority and availability, let me know. You know, around 11:50, I can take from one of you. So if you have any of you have any work, immediately you can let me know. I can take there first, or you know, we can do one after another. So we have Arun, Geetika, and Sagar, right? So let's do one thing. So Arun, and for you guys, it will take around 20 to 25 minutes for installation for SQL Server and Blue Prism. If it does not runs into any issue, for you, you know, Sagar, it will take you, you know, maximum of 10 minutes. Okay.
So can we take my task, because it's just an uninstall and reinstall actually?
We can take you at last. Last you are telling or first?
First, if you don't mind.
Okay. Okay, fine. So let's do, you know, for you, let's meet at around 11:55. You have installed TeamViewer, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's you know, install. You have Arun install SQL Server also. Okay, fine then. Hopefully you have made the right configuration while installing. And so that's fine, Arun. So after 11:55, then if it takes around 12:05, then around 12:15, Arun, let's meet around 12:15. And for you, Geetika, let's meet around maybe 1 o'clock. Is that fine for all of you?
Yeah. Yeah, for me
Okay,
it's
then.
fine.
Yeah, Arun. Let's meet at 12:15, Arun. And Sagar, okay, fine. I'll come from a break and let's meet around 11:55. Okay.
So shall I open
Prem,
this
a second.
window or close this? I mean, like.
You can log off from here. This is not needed. We need TeamViewer.
Okay, so you'll give me a call back, right?
Yeah, I'll give you a call back.
Fine, no issues. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Supriya here.
Yeah, Supriya.
The assignment that which you gave, can you please go to that work pad? What exactly output do you expect?
I just removed that actually. The output is, you understood the requirement?
Yeah, we have 3 fields and you have given the length and breadth of those 3 fields. And so you want to pop up like if the if
I want the output something like I want the outputs to contain, for example, output will contain the name of the field. For example, field 3 can contain maximum number of tree, or whatever field can contain maximum number of field, that will be the output. Okay.
Okay, I'll just try.
Okay, this is very easy. I have put some more English into it. Farmer, land, those are like not needed. Just understand something and it's easy. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Anyway, I'll upload that. Today I'll upload that.
Okay. I just want to, if the condition satisfies the field's length and breadth, you want to pop up the output like it goes to F1 or F2, F3, right? Field 1, field 2, field 3.
Yeah, whatever, whichever field can contain maximum number of trees, I want that field name as output.
Okay. Sure. Okay, fine. I got that. Okay, Prem. We'll see you.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, guys, then. Thanks for joining. For anything else, you can WhatsApp to the number. Arun and Geetika, I'll add you to the WhatsApp group, okay?
Okay. So Prem, do I need to install TeamViewer first?
Yeah, you need to install TeamViewer. So download and TeamViewer. I have sent you the email there. The link is there, or you can Google search.
So do I need to just install the basic one, or which option I have to choose?
Okay. I didn't know we have options there. So the basic one only.
Okay.
The very basic one. For the free one. The very basic one, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Bye then.
Okay.
Bye.